So yeah, what
type of media?
Yes.
Any media.
Like how for a $60 video game, what qualifications does it have to meet to be worth $60? Or for a movie,
okay, I was thinking more like
how much is a movie worth? A movie ticket worth, or buying the movie digitally?
Oh, see, that's a different. I don't even know.
Okay,
like,
wait, hold
I
on.
feel like
Why don't we start the episode and then we can ask these questions and explain it so that everybody else who's asking these questions
I've been
can also
recording,
know
so.
those. Oh, fabulous.
Oh, easy.
Nick, do you want to do the thing?
No, Walter, start us off.
Because being a part of the college and working at the college where we actually have to get movies.
Walter, hold on, time out. No, Walter, wait.
You have to start the podcast.
Start the podcast.
All right, everybody.
This is your captain speaking. You're flying on CCTV. Today in my cockpit, we got Kelly.
Hey.
We got Nick.
It's a boy.
And we got my co-pilot today, Giovanni.
This airline food sucks.
Did anybody else have the fish?
Looks down. It's a completely boned fish.
Just open my mouth, eggs start coming out, you know.
Oh, caviar.
That movie terrified me as a child. That was literally the scariest thing I'd ever seen.
Airplane is a masterpiece. Anyone who says otherwise is wrong.
Now I love it. Now I think it's really funny. But like when I was like 5, I saw it. My family was watching it. I was absolutely terrified. I never wanted to fly because I was like, if you fly and you eat the food, eggs will come out of your mouth. And I don't know why that was the scariest thing to me as a child. But like,
there was no eggs though.
Yes, there was.
Can you bring airplane when we go to
South? She opens her mouth and the eggs come.
Yeah, but that wasn't due to the illness. That was a magic trick.
It was.
Oh, was it? Oh.
Yeah, he was doing a magic. He was doing a magic trick on her.
Oh. Okay.
In a totally serious situation, he starts doing a magic trick on her.
Oh, okay. I forgot that part. I'm sorry.
Anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah.
So tonight, I wanted to.
Why'd you say tonight?
You got a problem with me, Kelly?
No, it's like Barry White starts playing in the background. Like.
Oh, right. Oh.
Anyway, tonight I want to talk about consumable media and what qualifications media in general has to meet for it to be worth consuming. So like I was saying before, what has to be in a $60 video game for it to be worth $60, or a movie ticket to go see a movie, a CD, a book, whatever. What has to be part of it to make it worth the money you spent on it?
That's very. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. I would say, like, for the movie when I was going to delve into. For instance, a movie ticket makes sense. You're paying mainly the extra price sometimes is just for the worker's paycheck, you know? Even though you're probably getting a lot of movie percentage-wise from the movie being played there, but also it goes back to the studio and producers and everything else. What really you need to look at is the price of being able to play a movie at, like, campuses or at different events. It costs, like, upwards of $1,000 just to play a movie somewhere. And I think that's, in its own way, given and makes sense, but also just ridiculous. Especially for movies that are super old. Like, we want to do a Studio Ghibli movie. We want to.
Is it Ghibli or Ghibli?
I say it really depends on my mood. I usually say Ghibli because there's a GH.
I feel like Ghibli is too close to chicken giblets, and I don't want to think about that. So like.
Giblets. Yeah, go with Ghibli. There's an H.
Yeah.
There's no J. But I think they were asking for like around $700 for it, which seems outrageous for a movie that's grossed exponentially already, and for something that like old.
Yeah.
At the time we're compared to now, for something of that quality, I can understand maybe if it's an indie movie and they're asking for like $300 because, you know, hey, it's an indie movie. There's a lot that goes into it. Sure, $300 seems fair enough. But for a movie that is extremely popular, famous, and has made enough money already, you shouldn't be asking for that much cash.
Yeah. I agree.
So depending on its age, you think that a ticket to see it should be less?
Not only its age, but how well it economically already. Like if like being able to just say if you want to play, who knows, like Avengers at wherever you're going to, and they're asking for $1,000. That seems crazy. For a fact they already made their paycheck.
Yeah.
Like
so yeah, because Avengers has made well over the amount of money that they sought out to make. The profit has already been made. I'm not gonna pay to go watch it on a college campus or in a movie theater. I'm going to watch it online for free.
Yeah, for free. Or even in the case of like, just because like in that kind of case where like you can watch it anywhere else for cheaper because you've already made the money for it.
Yeah. That being said,
But it goes to a different part where you're selling tickets to. Of course, then it's like, you're profiting having this movie played. But if it's like if it's like, for instance, My Neighbor Totoro, that movie's super. You do not have any reason to ask us, hey, you're profiting off. It's like, bro, you already profited.
Yeah.
You been profited.
The only reason I would consider paying for money for a movie ticket is like if to support the theater, to support the college campus if it was on a college campus. But
or I mean, like, even in general for like a movie ticket, like, I mean, are you interested in supporting your local like Redwood Cinema or whatever?
Yeah.
But then again, like, it's an aspect of if it's a movie worth waiting to see or watching. I barely ever go to movies. I only come to watch like Star Wars, Marvel movies, like John Wick and whatnot. Something that I actually have interest in. If it's something that I can wait for, I'd wait for.
So to go to see a movie in theaters, you'd have to wait to see, you have to have interest in it, or you don't see it at all.
Yeah, personally, that's my own thing. Like, if I eventually, like, for instance, we're doing a Quiet Place 2. Quiet Place I thought was really cool, but I don't really feel the need to go buy a ticket to see it in theaters. I can watch.
Is that the one? That's the one with John, whatever his name is from The Office.
I don't remember the. Is that him? I don't remember the actor, but it's the one where it's like the aliens that
John Krasinski.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie.
So to see a movie in theaters, it has to be interesting to you.
My fancy.
Otherwise, you're not going to see it. That's pretty much
like if I had kind of like, and also like if I had a good movie experience over there, like if it's a good theater, yeah, I'm gonna go there.
That's true.
I have to be dragged by my friend.
Oh,
pretty much by your hair.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Like I think you guys can at least, I don't know, like, because did you guys ever go to the Novato theater when it was like not cool?
I am terrified of movie theaters.
That's fair.
So like I don't ever go to see movies because they're really scary for me. So
that's to be a really good movie to make you go there.
Yeah, I will not be seeing The Quiet Place 2 or The Quiet Place ever.
Honestly, I forgot the name of the book you told us at the end of the last episode. What if they made a movie?
We'll have a horror movie night when Nick and I move into our apartment.
Yeah, I'm horror not movie.
That. You don't have
I like thrillers. I don't like horror movies, man.
Neither do I.
Oh, God.
I like horror games. I like horror games.
I just had a bad experience when I was younger, man. I think I watched The Boogeyman when I was like way too young to be watching horror movies, so now I'm just scarred for life.
See that? Hold on.
Oh, she's gone. Ah.
Sorry, I was pinning something and I dropped the pin right under my desk where I put my foot, and I was like, I should just grab that now before I grab it with my.
So you don't.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Walter said. I think that, like, for me personally, like, just watching a movie, like if we rent one or watching one on Netflix, like, I tend to be that person that sticks with what they know. So, like, if I once watched the first Avengers movie. For some reason I was like super obsessed with it, and I watched it like 11 times in one break or something. Like, I just sat on the couch because like I didn't have anything to do, so like I prefer things that are like kind of in the same genre that I already know. But I feel like the same could be said for streaming services. So like if streaming services are going to have things that I'm interested in seeing, so like they're talking about direct releasing Black Widow and Mulan straight to Disney Plus. Like, and I've been kind of considering Disney Plus, but like if they decide to do that, that's what's going to be what decides it for me because I really want to see Black Widow.
Fair. I will say Disney Plus. I tried a trial. It's worth it if you have something you want to watch. I only did the trial because I watched.
Mandalorian.
That's what I did. I bought the trial just to watch all of that, and I
want to get it so I can watch all the Marvel stuff because for me that's what's the most interesting.
That's what I say. Yeah, that's like another thing. Is like
like especially WandaVision and the Hawkeye show that's eventually happening.
Yeah, and that's another good topic for like we can go into like do you think streaming services are worth it in the aspect of the same thing? Like the only streaming service I have is Crunchyroll because I like to watch anime.
Yes.
There's a job up for that in Embryville right now for a production assistant. I sent it to Geo. Yeah, I might like if I get desperate enough.
Do it.
I don't know.
And you'll be back home with us.
I'd have to be pretty desperate. Well, I am moving back home.
I know that, but you'll be.
And I am looking for jobs in Embryville.
Ooh.
So. Anyway,
Oh, that was amazing. Oh. Apparently it was amazing.
Dude. Yeah. I guess so. Zach, we got the movie topic one down. We all in agreement, I guess.
We got movie topics. I think so.
Do you agree with that?
Streaming service.
Yeah.
All right, Kelly, what about books?
Okay, so to be honest, even though as much as I read, like I genuinely could not describe my process of picking what I want to read to someone. Like the reason I'm in Copperfields for like 3 hours every time I go in there is I'm just standing in front of the sale, like reading the backs of books. And like eventually something in the back of my brain will be like, yeah, this one. And I will buy that book. Like it's not
it's not necessarily your choice, but after you read a book, do you ever was this worth the money I paid for it? What does a book have to have in it to be worth it? Does it have to be interesting, gripping?
Okay, so I bought a couple of Danielle Steele books. Do any of you know who Danielle Steele is?
No, but
that's all what I want to hear. I just want to hear your opinion because I'm no expert.
Okay, Nick, do you know who Danielle Steele is?
I do not.
Okay, so Danielle Steele is this incredibly wealthy, famous, romance novel, or she's not romance novels, but she's novels, paperbacks. You see them at Petaluma Market and like in the dollar book section at Safeway and stuff. And her tagline is "Everybody reads Danielle Steele." Literally, that is underneath her picture. It says "Everybody reads Danielle Steele" because she has like 200 books in print or something.
Oh gosh.
And I've read so one of her newer ones is The Duchess, and then I've also read The Mistress because I thought it was historical fiction and it's not, but it was actually kind of interesting. So the issue I have with writers who have that prolific a career is that eventually it becomes formulaic. Like I enjoyed The Duchess. I thought it was interesting. And one thing I will say about Danielle.
Hello? Oh no. Tommaso? Did the internet? Oh, never mind.
Same language over and over again. And that's not descriptive.
Kelly
that's
here.
Just.
My internet died. I cut only like the last 2 seconds of that. I'm sorry.
How far back?
It's formulaic and
it's formulaic. So it becomes formulaic, but within each individual book, there is somewhat of a twist. Like she does a little formulaic, but also they're very repetitive. So within the book, so she'll describe the same thing over and over again, and it's not different descriptions of it. It's not different people's point of view, feeling, or the same sensation, or the same circumstance over and over again. And like that's just not good writing. Like that doesn't make me feel any more involved in the book. That doesn't make me feel any more like immersed in the story. It's just like, yeah, you already told me that. Like, and I understand that Danielle Steele is not trying to be like she's not trying to be Charlotte Bronte. She's not trying to be, Jane Austen. She's not trying to get you lost in. She's not appealing to quote unquote intelligent literature. She's just writing her stories, and that's cool. That's fine. They're a good read. Like, if you're not looking for something that's like really academic or super involved, like it's fine. Like, The Duchess is a good book. Like, it's not that it's shitty. It's just not great. And if I really had liked Danielle Steele, I would own all 200 of her books because I have no impulse control.
Yeah.
But like, I can't. I can't get involved in it because every time I run into the same thing, it's like it's not as simple as this, but it's like the dress was blue, and you're like, yeah, I know. Like, you didn't even say the dress was sky blue the second time; you just said the dress was blue again. And so, like, a book for me has to, by the same author, it has to be different enough from everything else that they've written, and it has to be its own unique level of engaging. Like, one of my favorite books is The Perfume Collector. I think I talked about previous episode. And oh shit! Sorry, I just hit a pencil on my desk and it flung something at my. So The Perfume Collector is written by a woman named Kathleen Tesaro. And that book has incredible description in it. And so I was like, okay, what if I read the best one of her books first? That would suck. But I'm still going to buy the other one because I want to see what it's like. So I bought her book called Rare Object. And it is also incredibly good in a very, very different way. And it's like the same kind of thing. It's still kind of historical fiction. It's still somewhat split narrative. But like, it's really good. Like, and it's completely different. And I think that Kathleen Tesaro, even though she's not really well known, is so much more interesting to me than Danielle Steele is. And Kathleen Tesaro is a best-selling author. Like, everybody is a New York Times best-selling author now. But, Danielle Steele lives in the old C&H sugar factory in San Francisco. She lives in a, like, $16 million house or something in San Francisco. And Kathleen Tesaro does not do, like, she's, she lives in Maine. She lives pretty modestly. I've looked her up. Like, that's not, like, I think, like, but her books are so much better. And so I feel like once you get to the point where you're just mass producing books like Dan Brown or Danielle Steele, like, it becomes so formulaic, and so you get stuck in like a stasis. And if I feel like the author is stuck in a stasis in a book, it's not interesting to me. But having said that, I will say that other than The Awakening, Wuthering Heights, and Madame Bovary, I have never in my life felt like a book was not worth buying. Because The Awakening is a piece of shit, and it should not be taught in our schools. Madame Bovary made me want to stab my eyes out, but I think that's just because I didn't like the main character. And Wuthering Heights, I think I was too young to read at the time. And I was really bored, so I never finished it. So I want to try it again. But I have never felt like a book was not worth buying for the book's sake. Because, like, it's still a piece of art, and somebody's still put a whole ton of work into it. And I think supporting that artistic endeavor always makes it worth it. Whether or not I, like, thought the book was the best thing I'd ever read, it doesn't matter. Like, for me, buying books is, like, my way that I support people. I'm also one of the only people that still buys my music, like, on iTunes. Like, that's how I exclusively listen to music. Well, other than CDs, but I buy those. So I think that actually putting my money where my passion is, which is specifically books, I think, like, I'm putting it forward. I'm supporting someone who might one day support me.
True.
So.
Okay.
I've never felt like books that I buy were not worth it. But, like, other people don't buy books at all. Other people get them from libraries, so they don't have that commitment.
Also, I feel like books are reasonably priced, actually. I don't know financially how it works, but, whenever I look at a book price, it seems reasonable.
Yeah, well, so I mean, it depends on when it comes out, like obviously hardcover books are going to be more expensive. Usually because they're new. But also depending on what they get printed in and where they are printed. But yeah, generally paperbacks will run you about $12 to $14. Hardbacks will be 20 to 24. But like sale books, I go to Coverfields at the sale section and they're $5.99, $7.99. Like, you know? And they're not, it's not because they're bad books and they're on sale because nobody wants to read them. It's just because that's the promotion that they're running that day. So like, anyway, I've talked a lot.
That's fine. You're passionate. That's why I asked.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I feel like I feel like people look at buying books as a like, you know, yeah. I need to have a bookshelf. I have a bookshelf currently, but it's too small by far for the amount of books that I own. People are like, well, why would you buy books when you can just buy them online? It's because it's not the same. Like, it's just not the same. It will never ever be that. There is something weirdly unique about being able to hold one singular person's heart and soul of their work in your hands. Like, if you have a tablet, like, you are holding you basically just have your own library. Like, that's not, it's not the same in that it's not a unique experience to that author. Does that make sense?
I get you.
Okay. Yeah. Like, I have owned a Kindle. My dad now uses it. I cannot, it just doesn't feel the same. And also at the time I did not realize I needed glasses to look at. So that was kind of painful for me. But like, I read books on my phone, a couple of Nicholas Sparks. But like Nicholas Sparks, Dale, like, and why? Fiction meaning like those formulaic books I was talking about that like are kind of empty and devoid of description for the sake of a plot.
I feel you.
Yeah. Anyway.
What's the next one?
Yeah.
What is the next one?
I don't know.
Video games.
Video games?
I mean, we could do music.
Well, no, let's do video games.
Gonna make me do the thing?
No, I want to
hear
hear
Nick's
from Nick.
opinion on video. Nick, tell us about video games. I have a little bit of an idea on that too. I want to hear yours first.
What makes video games what makes video games worth the money that it is?
And my question on that would be also like, are we gonna talk about like general just AAA, because all AAA titles cost about $56.
They're usually 60 plus.
60 plus.
So my main philosophy for costs is the amount of dollars I spend on it should be the amount of hours that I spend trying to play and complete this game. So if I buy a $60 game, I'm expected to play 60 hours worth of this game, trying to find everything, maybe play a few runs, maybe it has really good replayability, maybe it has some really good DLC, but I expect to have about I expect to have an hour per dollar ratio when I buy these games. And a lot of people who I've talked to agree, and I think Giovanni also agrees with that. Right, we've discussed this before, I think. But then there's this whole slew of what makes DLC like worth it. Like, why do you need extra content for a game if it's already $60? Well, it's to expand on the already complete game that it has. I believe that DLC is fine and you should pay for it because they did work on it, but DLC should only be put out if the original product is complete. So if you have a complete campaign, there's a complete like multiplayer, there's a whole experience to the game, then you can release DLC. see, and I would be completely fine purchasing it. When it's an incomplete story and there's lackluster gameplay, and it's like, oh, in order to get the full game, you got to spend $20 for an $80 game instead of a $60 game, then it's just money grubbing techniques, and it's disgusting.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I use Humble.
Right on.
Because if I end up not playing 60 hours of a game, I didn't pay $60 for it. A lot of the big story games that I have bought recently have been somewhere in the realm of $10, $15, which is the price for a decent sized campaign. If your campaign does not break 10 hours and it's not like really, really well done, then it's not worth it, in my opinion. If you're making a story-driven game and it doesn't break 10 hours and is fun and involved and entertaining, then it's not worth it. Like, the Halo campaigns only are about 8 or 9 hours each, but I think they're all so well done, masterfully put together.
But it's not just
beautiful maps.
About the campaign. The Halo experience was also the multiplayer, which is where we spent the majority of our hours in that game.
In terms of campaigns, I think a campaign has to either be super in-depth, super involved, a lot of fun, interesting, if it's going to be less than 10 hours. On the other hand, if it's more than 10 hours and it's just boring and side quests and the same garbage over and over again, it's also not worth it. Because then it's just fluff, it's padding, it's not content. It's
got to be a happy medium.
Mm-hmm. And even for playtime, I would say, are you just saying in general playtime or just campaign playtime?
Just in general playtime.
So go ahead.
So replaying a campaign because you enjoyed it so much, or there's a multiplayer, or there's just Easter eggs that you want to find in campaigns. It's a cumulative time that you spend in the game should be about the same as you paid for it.
Yeah. I agree with that completely. Right now, one game that it's, I don't know how many years old it is. I think it's just about a year or two that I think is really also just an underrated game that is cheap but super fun and worth the price would be Outer Wilds that I'm playing right now. It is one.
Speak to us?
Oh, not actually. Well, it is on my Xbox. My Xbox is on, but I'm not playing it right now. But it is. Let me see the price. It is. I think it's $24, and for the amount of hours. But I think it looks like it's literally about a 10-hour game. But the way it's played is kind of like Legend of Zelda's Ocarina of Time. So you have intervals that you have to keep restarting, but with saved progress. Okay. So it's up to you how fast you complete the game, actually. But at the same time, I feel like I'm close to the ending, and I feel like I can keep playing this, even restarting it, or just keep exploring, because it's such an expansive sandbox of a world that, there's a lot of just tomfoolery to be had at the end of the day. To which is something I can appreciate, And personally for me,
for some tomfoolery.
I'm one for some tomfoolery. Also, just not only hours, but how does the game look and sound?
Yeah.
Especially sound for me, as I'm a junkie when it comes to, and this game is exceptional for the soundtrack that it puts into it, because you're in space 90% of the time, so usually there's no sound except for minor areas where if you go to some planet, you have a beautiful soundtrack that comes.
I personally don't. I mean, I agree with you that for me, the most important parts, or at least one of the most important parts of any video game, is the music. Because if you can't set a mood, then no one's going to connect with what's going on in your story. You might have a very well written and well thought out storyline, but if the music doesn't match the tone that you're trying to portray, it's gonna flop.
See, I think the art style also needs to be good. It's a combination of music and art style. You can have a almost a subpar game or a super simple game, but the art style needs to be good and the music needs to match.
True. I think, for instance, oh god, I'm gonna die if I don't remember the name of this game, and y'all are gonna make fun of me probably. Undertale.
Flamed.
Undertale.
Undertale, great game, great soundtrack because it is now embedded in meme and just gaming history. Art style, not bad, but very simplistic.
Well, that's because it was designed intentionally. It was supposed to be to pay homage to old JRPG styles.
Yeah,
that was the point.
Which is something I respect, of course. Like, because it's super simplistic in the fact of, hey, we're just doing this, we're paying tribute to this, and for coming out in 2016, I think. It's not the best. It's not the best time for it, saying doing a classic JRPG. People want these like 4K 1080p shooters and all this, but you're coming out with this and creating a well-established gaming title.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't think that everyone. See, because I don't fall under that. I don't think every game needs to be 4K. I just think the style needs to look good.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it has to look good. Like, it's like the game, I don't think streams in 4K, but, it looks nice. It's appealing to the eye to watch,
Yes.
For instance, like, looking back now, like, if we were playing Halo Reach. Compared to our graphics now, it's not amazing, but when it came out, it was beautiful, dude. This game
I think it still holds up even today. Some games that I've played in the last couple of years have not even looked as good as Reach. Like Andromeda. I paid $80 for Andromeda. I was so excited.
Actually, Gio, you paid $120 for that. You bought my copy too.
Okay, but that was a birthday present. My point is, for me, I bought the deluxe.
You bought Andromeda for his birthday?
Yeah, because we were hyped.
We thought it was gonna be good. I don't blame him.
Well, because we're like, okay.
No. Like, I'm just saying that sucks. Like, you were so excited.
Yeah, everyone was. So, like, the reasons.
I was excited. I don't play.
The reasons that I'm upset about Andromeda, even to this day, I spent $80 on a game I barely put 4 hours in because it didn't look good, it didn't sound good, I wasn't convinced of the storyline, the multiplayer was not good, even though it was a copy-paste of the Halo 3, or the Halo 3, Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. Like, there was nothing innovative. It looked worse than the game previous to it. And that means
it also functioned worse.
Yes, it was, and unfortunately that was a product of Rush, but even still, I paid $80 for a game that I barely put 4 hours into, and I hated it. On the other side of that, you have something like the Master Chief Collection, cost me $40. In the first month that it was out, I logged 40 hours. That game paid for itself immediately.
And it's also just, it's a collection of Halo 1 through ODST?
Halo the Reach through 4, technically.
Yeah, $40. That's literally, even if you were to get those individually, you're spending, what is it, like $240?
It's 6 games.
Yeah.
So, yes, and I get it, it's just re-releasing something that's already been released, but I've already put the time in to make that game worth it.
Oh, yeah.
And so
I think another important...
go ahead, man.
Oh, yeah, because I think, because I was going to add on to what you're saying, another important part would be also just the writing of it and the production. Because, yes, so, of course, if, for instance, Rainbow doesn't really have any plot to it or writing much,
Yeah, they're developing some, but it's not, the heart and...
It's not the heart of it. Yeah. So, the playtime of it is just, it's a fun, compactive, and just entertaining game to play with friends and other people. Wow, for instance,
for Siege,
yeah,
Siege was ingenious.
It was ingenious.
Siege released, not just the gameplay, which I think is innovative and lots of fun. They were ingenious on release, because a month after release, they released it for $15 under the starter edition, not the starter edition, the limited edition premise, whatever it was called, standard edition.
Standard, yeah. I have.
And so I paid $15 for a game that I now have almost 1,200 hours in. And I spent $20 here for some multiplayer, or for some operators. I spent $15 on an event. I have put in enough time that it's warranted to spend that money, because my enjoyment through it has been enough.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing. Is like what warrants the spending of DLC in that aspect.
Well,
like,
DLC is the same way. If you charge me $20 for DLC, I should get 20 hours of content out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or 20 hours of enjoyment out of it.
In enjoyment, and also, is it essentially like worth any aspect of for instance, with Siege, you can spend $20 to get all these operators unlocked, or you just grind. Like, at the same time, it's like, are you patient enough to do this, or you want to put the hours in at the same time? Is it something that that is equal?
Like, I think that boils down to, do you enjoy the game enough to put the hours in?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a point where it's like, I don't feel like grinding.
Yeah.
But also, there's a lot of operators, and there's just some operators that aren't appealing to players. Like, I know that I have all the operators, but I only play about half of them. Because the other half are just like, meh, I'm not interested in you.
You can say Amaru, it's okay.
I think, wait, which one's Amaru?
She's the grapple lady.
I just think she's poorly designed, and I feel like she's going to get a rework soon, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. See, that's the other thing, is I feel like Siege is not uniquely, but they're extremely involved
with the community
in their game. Like, not necessarily with the community, because they've done some pretty shit-ass things, but like I feel like they're really involved with their games still. And like, being new to games, I don't know if this is fairly common, but like they're constantly updating their game and improving it as they see fit.
Unfortunately, that is uncommon nowadays.
Okay.
Similar
more
to
common than
Huh?
So more common than it used to be, but much better now.
Well, I mean, there are what Kelly was saying about just copy paste. Call of Duty has had the same formula for 20 years, and I haven't bought a Call of Duty game since I was like
Modern Warfare 2, baby.
Yeah.
Since I was like 14. I didn't even buy Modern Warfare because I got it with my new graphics card. That's how much I really don't care about Call of Duty anymore. And
I enjoyed this new one actually. And I think it's actually nice. It's their best one since Battlefield.
It's their best one.
Black Ops 2.
That's like a 10-year gap of copy paste garbage.
And that's what I mean. Like, they finally cleaned it up at this point. So it takes a lot.
And so I feel like Call of Duties are not worth the money to put it. I mean, I kind of feel like the new Modern Warfare was, in a sense, maybe, but even then, honestly, I wouldn't have paid $60 for it because of how copy paste everything is.
Yeah, I honestly like the plot of this one. I didn't like the plots of any of the other ones since Black Ops 2, but the actual campaign of this one was something I actually enjoyed, and that's why I feel like because and of course everyone's taught to the opinion, but
how long was the campaign? How long did it take you to get from beginning to end?
I played it on, I think, veteran, and it took me a few days.
How long total playtime?
I don't even think I should. Let me see if I can look that up last.
Anyway, I can guarantee it's not gonna break 15, even on the hardest difficulty.
Oh yeah, the playtime for my at least multiplayer is definitely past 15. I enjoyed this multiplayer a lot.
Doom Eternal took me 18 hours just to beat the campaign.
Yeah, and I'll even say for Call of Duty now, their what's called Battle Royale that they have is one that I like, and I do not like Battle Royales. I'm not a big fan.
I think that's a whole different topic.
That's a whole different topic.
That's a whole different can of worms. But Nick, for Doom Eternal, what's the replayability? What's the replayability of a Call of Duty? It's the same campaign all the way through. What's the replayability of Doom? The different challenge modes, right?
Yeah.
Nightmare, Ultra Nightmare, and 1-Up. Like, even if I don't touch them,
cheat codes.
Yeah, and cheat codes. Call of Duty's campaign and replayability value is 0.
I don't say I know that I've talked about the game before, but Celeste also did a good job of that with the replayability, because you literally replay levels, but also you replay levels at exponentially harder.
Well, and also all of the collectibles, all of the strawberry challenges, all of the Crystal Heart
they
challenges.
made like replaying the same things really interesting. Not that I've actually played the B-sides or C-sides yet, but like
Pathetic.
Nick?
Get destroyed.
I've completed all the B-sides, including B-side core. I'm currently working on all the C-sides.
I'm actually gonna. I think I want to pick up Celeste while we're in quarantine. I wanna 100% the normal campaign, and I wanna at least beat the B-sides.
It back up. I was like, don't you have it?
No, pick. God, Kelly.
Don't you have it, Gio?
Yeah, I do.
Really?
Anyway, well, that takes us to a different subtopic of this: is the value of indie games.
Indie games?
Exponentially higher.
Yeah, I feel like
per unit value so much higher.
Yeah, and also like this is just me being like really, really adamant that people should like always support, like, you know, we always see like the signs in like local, like support local business, like this is where you can find us, you can always order from us, like whatever, like support your local businesses is great. Support indie developers is exactly the same thing. Like if you can shop at Petaluma Market, which is like a local version of Whole Foods, like it's just expensive, but that's because it's a local business and it needs to have some sort of income consistently. Like if you can go there, you can like support an artist on Patreon, or like a small artist on Patreon, or you can like, you know, you can buy an indie record, or you can see an indie movie. Like I feel like that, like supporting people in fledgling stages is so much more important.
Yeah. So like just going through my library, Astroneer, I paid $25 for it. I have logged 125 hours. So in my head, I have gotten 5 times the value I put into it. So Celeste, I paid $30 for it. I've only logged 15 hours, but the replayability is so high that I'm gonna pick it up and it'll still be worth it.
And also, like, it wasn't like after those 15 hours, you're like, oh, it's only 15 hours. Like, it's
no, there's still so much more to go through.
Yeah.
Frostpunk, I paid $30 for it. I have logged 60. Into the Breach, I've paid $15 for, and I've logged 75. And that's just the first 3 on my list of indie games. So, indie games are great, and I mean, you know, they can't be a garbage game. Like if it's a garbage game, I'm not going to enjoy it. But you know, a well-made indie game is always worth it.
Oh yeah, because usually if it's well-made, it's like worth the price, and usually it's not expensive is a thing.
Usually not expensive because they understand that they understand this mindset.
Like in my case, like with Outer Wilds, it's actually, I think Mobius Studios, I think it's now owned by Fox Studio, but that was their last independent game they released. So I got this one for free. So I am spending my well-earned $0.
Well, I mean, even if we go back to movies, like Marvel Studios, as it began with like Hulk and Iron Man, was an indie studio, technically, because they still had that IP and they could make those movies, but they had really super small budgets. And then eventually, you know, whoever bought them, Fox bought them, I guess. I don't remember.
But no, like Fox owned the X-Men.
No, that's right. Fox owned the X-Men. Sony had
Spider-Man in his universe.
So like, but they were able to make movies like Hulk and Iron Man that like previous to that people knew about, but like weren't the big sellers. Whereas like now, you know, so they were technically indie movies, and now they're the MCU. Like they are almost ubiquitous in media.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Now it's owned by the mouse with the big ears.
Yes.
Whose name we shall never say.
Anyone else want to make a comment about the value or the qualifications of video games, or we want to move on to a different topic?
Anything else?
No, not that I can think of.
I guess my final thought for that is even if the hours to the money to hours isn't 1-to-1 to like, you know, 60 hours for a $60 game, if the enjoyment is there and I can see that there was a lot of love put into the game, then it's worth it. So I paid $80 for Doom. I've logged probably 15 hours already, and maybe I don't make it to 80 hours in Doom, but the amount of fun that I have playing Doom is out of this world. And if you don't have Doom, I recommend you get Doom and try it, because it is amazing.
And since I have beaten the campaign, it is a story that is definitely worth playing through, and it definitely sets up for Doom 3, which I am counting the days for.
Spoilers, Nick. I didn't know there was going to be a Doom 3.
It just sets up for another story.
My poor
Is
brain.
Doom 3 coming out? Is that a thing?
Most likely. Did it end on a cliffhanger?
It didn't really end on a cliffhanger, but it's
set it up.
Open-ended.
It set it up. I mean, Doom 2016 ended on a cliffhanger.
Yes.
And everyone's like, no! Why would you do this to me?
Was Doom 2016 the last Doom game that came out?
The one prior to Eternal, yes.
Kelly, you need to play Doom. Like, definitely. Play it. In fact, Doom 2016
gets down to like 15.
Right now is... No, it gets down to like $5.
That's so worth it.
Let's see what it is currently.
Your Steam?
Doom 2016 is $20 right now, not on sale. You need...
Even that's worth it. Like, I think I logged 25 hours into Doom 2016.
Okay, well, let's wait until my bonus comes through next week, and then maybe I'll buy it.
Get the bonus.
So, to be fair, there is it's a demon killing game. So,
spoilers, Nick.
How is that spoilers? It's Doom.
Okay, that doesn't bother me. It's the zombies.
There are some.
So, like, demons
there are some zombies, but they die so easily.
Oh.
You rip them to shreds.
Kelly,
they literally pose the least amount of threat in the game. They are the flimsiest enemies in your wake.
Okay.
It's almost comical how like wheat to the scythe.
Oh my god.
I mean, that's what Doom feels like to play, honestly. But that
I was looking at a Reddit Ask Reddit thread today, and it was about what fictional technology do you wish was, or would you want if you could have any one of them? And a ton of people said is it the BFG?
Yes.
Is that just what it's called?
It's literally the BFG stands for big fucking gun.
Big fucking gun. Yeah.
Hello.
I got real quiet for a second.
Yeah, everybody just stopped talking. I was like, did I disconnect from?
Same. But is it were you trying to ask Nick something, or was he?
Maybe.
Oh, I thought I heard Nick. Oh, music. Oh, that's a whole new. That's my forte.
Yeah.
I would say comes. Who?
Mick Gordon.
Nick Gordon. Have I heard of Nick Gordon?
Mick Gordon is the person who made the Doom soundtrack.
That's why it sounds familiar. What else did he compose? Let me see. Was it just
Walter, do you want to talk about music first, since it's yours?
Yeah, I can do some. I would say definitely, and there's different genres where it comes down to it. I would say, for instance, if you can have, I don't know, where do I start with? It's hard. Personally, for me, at least when it comes down to say just physical copies, I usually just use Spotify for everything, but when it comes down to physical copies, I buy records because I have a vinyl player. And for it to be something that I would feel like is definitely well worth while to listen to would be either for the sake of nostalgia, just because it's a record player, and if it's something I feel like I would have the not energy, but would be excited to flip to the other side whenever I'm playing.
Yeah, you wouldn't just leave it spinning.
Yeah, not leave it spinning, but just let it stop. For instance, right now I have just playing music before we were down here. I was playing Caravan Palace, which is a personal favorite band of mine, and I really enjoy the music. And I feel like once I'm done with one side of it, I'm ready to go to the next side and just keep the tunes rolling when it comes down to that. Also, just even for like classic albums, I have like Earth, Wind and Fire, George Benson, George Washington Grover.
I've seen Earth, Wind and Fire.
They are fantastic.
Like in concert, they came to the Luther Burbank Center when I was in junior high, and my friend Catherine's family took. They are a trip.
It's legit.
I was the youngest person in the audience by about 40 years.
God.
But it was fun.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and that's why I say, like, is like music, and it's totally up to your opinion on what you like to listen to. If you can have fun listening to a soundtrack and be able to play it just the same way as we say in just like the games, if you can play it over and over again, definitely is worth the money for you to listen to. And then that goes into the aspect of, why don't you just buy a streaming service and spend less money and do that? And I would say the part that matters most is, are you willing to support the artist wholly for buying an entire album than just doing it on Spotify or Apple Play? Whatever. I don't even use Apple Music.
Apple Music.
Yes, because either you spend how much? I would say $16 maybe for an album, rather than
on a vinyl.
No, sorry, just for like when it comes to digital music. Like if you're buying it like iTunes or whatever.
About 15. Yeah, well, it depends on how much is in it, but yeah.
Yeah.
A vinyl is like $30, $20.
Yeah, vinyls run expensive. Yeah. Well, if they're new vinyls, and it depends on what you're buying and if they're used. But yeah, like a new vinyl from like Target will run you $30 to $45.
That's why I go to record stores where it's cheap.
Yeah.
Support your local record shops, people, please. But definitely playtime would be an aspect into it. One album that I didn't buy, just listen to the most of is a composer by the name of Filter, and he makes soundtracks that you would think belong in a gaming soundtrack, but his just works. Like that's just what he makes, and it is something that I have legit. I think if I look at my like Spotify play, I have probably listened to over 100 hours.
Wow.
Of like just one of his albums, and that's like probably like I should probably triple that, because an album's maybe like 20, like probably like an hour-ish. So about 100 times I've listened to it, and even more than that, I don't know. I'll tell you later if I can find the numbers. But definitely, it's something that can really, I feel like, just tell a story in its own way.
Yeah.
Not all songs are gonna do that. If you happen to have, for instance, like country music, it always tells a story, man. That is the whole premise, I feel like, of a country song is, sad's going on, or either you're having a good time, and there's a story there. And, that's what I feel like is well worth it when it comes to when you purchase music. And then also is just like, again, very your own opinion, man. Does it sound good, when you have to listen to it? Because there is some reasonable production that goes into it if you're making music. For instance, I forget the word I want to use for this, but I think it's called like not monotone, but just a certain tone that you use in it where it literally just sounds like a pencil sharpener. And for some, hey, you like it. I'm not gonna tell you no, but it's not for me. But yeah, there's so much that goes into it. Personally, just me as a creator, when I make music, it has to be. I generally, my thing is, am I having fun making it? And then secondly, is the people that are going to listen to it have just as much fun listening to it and enjoying it as I did making it?
Yeah, that's kind of how I write too.
Mm-hmm.
Like whenever I write, I cry really easily, as we found out in the last DVDs. But if I cry at my own writing, like I can make.
Ooh.
Are we good?
I didn't reach my mute button in time.
Bless you.
Corona.
If I can make myself emotional with my own writing, I know that somebody else is going to be emotional over it too.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's having the effect that I want it to have. Whereas like, like you just said with your music, like you try to put, like if you're having fun making it, then like that's gonna come.
Oh yeah, and then it's like, and we even get to discuss this with the other one, but like just like I feel like the hours you can put into these projects and just the effort definitely is what makes a premise for its pricing, and is obviously the hardest part of whenever I release music is how much what make people spend for this.
Yeah.
You know, like for instance, like a single, maybe like $8, honestly, because it's a single, it's one song. I definitely put more than 8 hours into, but I should not be charging you $80 because that's how long I put into it.
Yeah.
But it's something that I feel like is at the worth the charge for people to enjoy, and is it will I feel satisfied that people paid this at the same time. Like,
And I
don't
think
undercut yourself, is my rule.
Yeah, like I one of my favorite artists is Taylor Swift. She always has been, like ever since younger when she first started
Swizzle.
singing. Like I you know, and she doesn't need more money. Let's be honest.
She's doing
She
good.
does not need me to spend money on her album. She has more money than God. Like she does not need my support. But also like I don't care if they need my support or not. Like if I really like something, I'm going to spend money on it.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Like like I will admit I pre-ordered the Taylor Swift Lover album like specifically to get the poster and the like journal pages that she printed and the cool CD and like the lyric. Yeah, like I did that. I full on did, and I was excited for it. Fuck you, Nick. And like I like, and I'm going to her concert in July. I didn't pay for that. That was a gift.
You stole it?
No. My friend and I are going to to a 10-year challenge, Taylor Swift, and like we're really excited for it. We're gonna spend money on merch and buy t-shirts to make ourselves and like do the whole thing. We're renting a hotel room. Like we're spending money on something that like we really, really want. And so like even if they don't need your money, I feel like if your fans still want to give you money because they're so hyped about it, like I don't know.
And I feel like that's another bridge we can take into this going is like, for instance, because this is the only thing that actually applies to is concert pricing, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's
I don't want to ask Catherine how much the tickets were.
I'm gonna guess Taylor Swift being a famous artist.
Well, I can tell you how much the base tickets when I went to go look how much they were. They were
I would say 90.
They were $199 for nosebleeds. And we do not have nosebleeds.
Oh. That hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
like
another thing.
Catherine, if you're listening to this, I'm literally never gonna be able to pay you back because I'm a journalism major. But like
and that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Yeah, it's definitely ticket prices for things.
Yeah.
To which I can understand. Okay, like there's a lot of things. If you go to a I don't know the correct word for this. Things like Outerlands, Coachella, music. Like well, I think usually like $200. That's worth it because you have a whole venue of multiple artists.
It's not just a concert
like
where you go and
5 days.
It's like a full. Yeah.
The full thing. Like you are camping in your car for 3 days straight, and you got like 80 artists there. That's $200. Sure.
It's the Woodstock syndrome.
The Woodstock syndrome. And but for instance, artists like Taylor Swift, there's some things that go into it that say this is way too expensive. One, you are a artist who makes enough money on albums alone.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a lot of money because you're not living off like ticket sales. You're like, for instance, Chance the Rapper, when he first started, I don't even know actually how much his prices were, but he literally only made money on touring because his albums were free.
Yeah.
All the music is free. I don't think to this day he's ever had an album where you buy it. Like it's still free, and he only makes money via tours.
He went on Wait Don't Tell from NPR, like the news quiz show. He's super cool. Yeah.
I have to watch that then. I really like Chance the Rapper. Big fan.
He's cool. I like him.
And I would say, like, for instance, stuff like that, I can see reason to spend $100 maybe not 190, but just to spend large sums of money. At the end of the day, like even for like nowadays with K-pop groups where it's like same pricing for these tickets, like these dudes, yo, y'all are doing great so far, but lessen the price, man. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Like I think it's outrageous.
So K-pop groups, so like K-pop and J-pop, I've heard like the industry, like they actually don't make that much money.
They don't?
The singers do not make enough money at all. It's
then they need to fix the
like
system.
especially Korean singers,
Mm.
they tend to actually like the industry is extremely toxic, and they actually take the majority of the money.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
It's hard out here as an artist, man.
Purportedly, I don't know the fact, but purportedly those industries are extremely toxic to their artists.
I wouldn't be surprised. Even American industries is very like. Luckily, we have a system where it's like you have to pay people kind of thing, but still, it's super hard.
Yeah.
Like a lot of artists that I'm big fans of right now.
Capitalism.
Hey, capitalism, we're doing it.
We
Where right now their only way of making money is actually merch sales. One artist,
Yeah.
it's like I like Andy Mineo. He's a really dope rapper.
Mm.
He literally like sent a post out saying, "Hey, y'all don't ever see me doing this, but I'm asking you, hey, if you're a big fan, I'm sorry about that. We can't do the concert because of the coronavirus going out. If you want to still support me, purchase my merch because that's
the
only way I'm making money. Yeah, because tours is the only way that he gets paid. So
and ticket sales go to the venue.
yeah,
So
it mainly goes to the venue. They get a percentage of it, but like it's mainly just the venue.
Theirs. Yeah.
Like it's like if they go do it, like it's probably gonna be about maybe $1,200 to rent out the whole venue. If they make over the $1,200, then they get to keep the rest. But so
yeah,
it's hard. It's there's a lot that goes into it, to which why I understand why ticket prices can be so expensive. But if you're somebody so prominent, I feel like there is no need to have an outrageous fee on there, to do that.
Yeah.
Like I'm probably gonna. What's that one group you like a lot, Gio? And I don't remember the name, but
HAR.
Thank you. I was gonna say HKR. I was like, I noticed not.
Yeah, they're super cheap still. I think, right?
And I think I've seen like some prices of them. They're not that expensive, and they're super popular.
Which reminds me
that I've known.
When the bonus comes in, my dude. When the bonus comes in.
I mean, the tour hasn't been canceled yet.
But yeah, like definitely, it's just there's a lot that goes into it. But I feel like and then albums. If you're independent, there's also the fact that you have to pay a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
For instance, I can't remember the number, but I think it's like in the millions. For instance, like Drake, where he has a reasonably priced album, but there's so much money that goes into it. He has to pay his managers, producers, album artists, and whatnot. And there's so many bends and turns.
Like on songs.
Yeah. Where 50% of that's getting cut out of a single song that he does or something like that. With them. So there's a lot of work.
Do you like Drake? Is Drake like
personally? I do like Drake a lot. Kind of like it's a little bit of a guilty pleasure. Like how you're loud or proud about Taylor Swift. I'm not the biggest fan of Taylor Swift, but I respect her as an artist.
That's okay. You know what? Like, I admit that I'm a little nutty. So like, you're good.
People do the same thing to me. It's like, you like Drake? It's like, I kind of like Drake. Drake's pretty good.
The only song that I ever got like super into from Drake was oh my god, what is it? It's several years old now. It came out when we were Hold On, We're Going Home.
That's a good one. That's actually good.
Yeah, we used to row to that because Leanne, my Coxon,
used to row to that.
Drake fan. To row? Okay. Yeah, she would put it on in the microphone. She would hold her microphone up to the speaker.
That's the one song I would never expect a rowing team to row.
It was on the last stretch, so like when you're cruising back into the not like when
just hold on, we're going.
We're going home. This is it.
But yeah, I think that puts down what I think. Unless you guys have any questions that you think I should be able to answer, if you have any ideas.
You've covered all of.
No, you're good.
All of your end.
Yeah. Sorry, just like musical.
No, you're good.
No, I like. Honestly, I appreciate. That's why I asked you guys, because I appreciate your idea. Somebody who makes music, I want to hear just what other people's ideas are when they either say, why is it like this? How much like, why does music cost this much money? What goes into it? I'm curious for people that don't make. What do they think about
I mean, you drop a $10 album, I'm gonna buy your $10 album because I know it goes straight to you.
I buy $10. That's the thing is, at the end of the day, definitely support if you know they're independent artists or don't have that much of a title. Definitely just buy the album. That it definitely makes their day and is much easier if they don't get the amount of plays. Because so far, I have probably only made, if I were to give you a number, $200. But I'm still gonna keep doing it. I have so much fun making it, and that's only due to streams. Altogether, it's like probably like $200 actually per physically bought copies of. It's about 200.
Being a musician or being an artist or being a writer is unrealistic.
I agree.
Because it doesn't matter, like, if you see an artist who's like, hey, come support me on Ko-Fi or on Patreon or like whatever. Like it costs like $2 to buy them a coffee or to like support them on Patreon. It costs you like $1 a month.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you can't afford $1 a month, yeah, don't. It's fine. Like, they don't know that. You're fine. Like, they're not gonna come hunt you down. But like, if you can afford to subscribe to someone for $1 a month, or you can afford to be like, you know what, I like that print and it's only $10, I'm gonna order it. Like, there's literally no reason for you not to do that.
Exactly.
So yeah, like, I don't understand why people are like, why are you even trying?
Bro,
like, I don't understand.
Bro,
don't give me,
bro,
don't give me
bro, don't even, bro, don't even. Bro,
I'm not gonna make a Kofi just because of that,
bro.
But
wait, how many followers do you have on Twitch?
49.
Oh,
I just found out yesterday. I'm so close. 50, man.
Nick, you following Walter on Twitch? You following Walter on Twitch?
I might not be following Walter on Twitch. Hold on. I thought
Walter on Twitch.
Walter, hold on.
Then I can start sending you money whenever you talk smack like this.
Hold on. What are you, Alba Beats?
Yeah.
I'm Alba Beats. That's me. If you're not following, I'm not.
I'm suing.
Only streaming again due to quarantine.
You need followers, right?
I need followers.
There's your 50th, my dude.
We out here. I'm gonna stream tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Monday. Sure. What?
Bro, you better apply.
Outer Wild.
You better apply for that affiliate, bro, so I can give you money. You piece of shit.
I don't know. That's a different. Tell me later. But yeah. Yeah. So I would say definitely to conclude this topic. I think are we concluding it?
I think so.
There's also art. Like,
you're not an artist, but yeah.
Like,
I can speak on that. I got a little bit on that.
Yeah, like, I just feel like, so I follow a lot of artists on Tumblr, and one of my favorites was doing the first 10 or 5 people to message her got they could commission her to do an OC, an original character of theirs. And at the time I was writing my novel for NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, and I really wanted her to do that, and I was afraid that I'd seen it too late. She was super cool, and I messaged her anyway, and I was like, hey, look, I just wanted to know if this is still going on. And she was like, I really appreciate you asking, and that you love my art so much that like, even if there wasn't a chance, you would still pay me. And so the other ones are actually taking a super long time to get back to me. So yeah, let's do it. If you're good to go, like, right now, let's do it. And her art of my OC is like stunning. Like, it looks exactly like I imagined the character. So like, I think, like, anytime, like, art, yes, is a difficult field to get into, and it's really like any of the things we've discussed, like game design, writing, music, any of that. It all takes like so much. Ideally, it's an obvious labor of love, and like, if you can see that the artist like puts something of themselves, like, I have so many artists bookmarked on my computer that I want to buy money from. Can I? I'm a dairy clerk. No, but like, I really want to, and I would, in a heartbeat, if I could, I would buy a print from every artist that I've ever liked, but I can't. I don't.
Nick, you bought a piece of art from someone recently.
Yeah, I bought one from Pixel, but I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna shout out some artists too. Yeah, shout out to Pixel.
It's a big shout out to Pixel. It's
big shout out to Pixel.
I think Pixel's artwork is fantastic, and I'm very excited to get my picture. And I don't want to talk about it because I want it to be a surprise.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's
In that
cool.
case, I want to shout out actually from my profile picture, by the way, Cosmic Lights. You can find her on Twitter. Dope artist, by the way. Super cute work. Honestly, love my new profile picture. I'll be using for all my stuff now.
And I don't remember what I was going to
say. I would say one great way to support artists is, if you haven't tried or just interested in, definitely support them when going to conventions. I'm an avid anime and comic convention attendee. And for instance, times like these is when you can find different ways to support them. Just like we said, like coffee, even going on the website. Because now they can't go to these conventions because there's too many people in there. It's way too close. It's gross. But definitely check them out. Get their stuff if you can. Because my room is decked with just posters from just going to conventions. And just, it's a cool thing to have. You get to pay homage to you are a big fan of, and also just contribute to somebody who is also just a fan of what you love and has put their heart and soul into making a physical just rendition of it for you.
And also, especially like the fact that a lot of these artists are doing this art for free, like during their free time, and right now they might not have their normal job if they have one. So like, if you can buy, like, yeah.
I respect that.
But yeah, in case anybody's wondering, the website Ko-Fi or Coffee, I don't really know how you say it, but it's literally a platform set up for, it's like GoFundMe. It has you can set up a goal and people can donate to. But like Ko-Fi, donate $3 to buy me a coffee. And it's really cool. I really like the platform. So if you all check it out, there's a lot of artists that I like on there.
To which it's not a literal coffee, by the way, people. It's just
one does not appear in my hand. That would be really cool, and I wish it did.
They might use it to buy coffee. Who knows? Who knows if that actually helps
I use
them
it to feel my horrific addiction. But
yeah, like they might actually drink the coffees you buy them, or either it's just $3, that you contribute to. Hey, I'm trying to do this for this project for you guys. It really helps.
I have one that's contributing to my fund to self-publish something.
Do it.
So
publish the books.
Not that I'm like self-promoting, but like as an example, that is like. Sorry, I didn't mean to be like, go follow me, but like
promote yourself. That's why we literally make content creators for them.
Owl Beats,
yeah,
on Twitch.
Follow me on Twitch, Spotify, whatever. New album coming out. I promise you, I'm actually working on something.
Bet. Wait a minute, bet.
You want a screenshot?
Bro, bet.
See, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, this is it. On the side.
That voice just reminded me, and this is a little off topic, but I was with my family the other day, and both of my cousins who are currently in college were drinking White Claw.
Oh,
and
God.
I was like,
Here you go. On that right side, those are almost all the songs I'm working on for this new album. Oh, that's screenshot. The very right side. That's like 10 songs.
Bet.
Getting it done. Why, dude?
I'm trying. I'm not doing anything. So quarantine. Oh God, Nick's dying. All right, guys, you heard the alarm. Nick's stretching. So we ended here.
Yeah, that's the.
So as always.
Thank you guys for listening to CCTV podcast.
Oh wait, really quick. I'm sorry, I didn't. I meant to say book.
Oh, tell us about.
You have another book? What the heck?
Another? How many books?
Yeah, I said I have a book for every week.
Really? I should do that too. I should figure out an album to listen to for every.
Yeah, that would be so cool, Walter. Damn.
I'm gonna.
Oh my God. Okay, so actually, I know I just spent like a good portion of this bashing her. But what a book that I read a couple months ago that actually wasn't that bad, and it was different than other books that she's written, is Hotel Vendôme, by Danielle Stern. If you're looking for something that's an easy read, because I'm also trying to branch out, and I'm not like, Charlotte Bronte, Jane Austen. Like, I don't want to be that pretentious recommender. So, like, Danielle Steele's Hotel Vendôme. It's several years old. You can find it used for like $3. I promise. That's how I bought it. It's also interesting. I really so and so that's I good. It was good.
I would my kind of book, not intellectual.
Oh, Walter.
I'm kidding. Cool. And on my note, I would say definitely check out Filter. That's PH. That's not an F. And his newest album is, let me see, The Queen of Crown. Definitely an amazing just composition. All definitely if you like listening to like game soundtracks and whatnot, like anime soundtracks, check him out. Beautiful soundtrack. Good listen.
Really quick, Walter, can I ask? You specifically said he was a composer. Is that how he describes himself, or is that like a distinction that you made?
That is actually, I think, how he describes himself as a composer. Like, okay. I think he does fall under EDM, but he's not making EDM music. The way he creates his music is, I would say, as a composer.
Okay.
Although most of it's done electronically, or he physically records symphony bands and whatnot and has it composed that way. I think is what he told me when I actually sent him like an email once years ago. Big fan of him.
I was just wondering. I didn't know if that was like a distinction that like you or
that is at least my distinction of it, just based on how it is created. Okay. I would say it's definitely all music is a composition, but in the genre sense, it is definitely as I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, take it a listen. Okay. I have a new song for next week.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody. This has been Content Creators Haven CCTV. You can check us out at contentcreatorshaven.com.
We have a link tree.
We got a link.
We have a link tree that we set up. But yeah, the website has pages for all of our creators where you can find their stuff specifically. You can check us out at Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, where we post all of our new art every month, like I'm totally going to do for March. And then you can join our Discord server. It's a public Discord server. And yeah, if you listen to us on YouTube, you can also find us at Apple Podcasts and on Spotify now. You can also listen to us on the Anchor platform, should you so choose. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. I'm Kelly.
I'm Nick.
This is Walter.
I'm dumb.
He is.
And we'll catch you guys all next week. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.